Hey, Joe from Mindshore here. Let's talk about why the Mindshore government should accumulate assets rather than liabilities. 3 points that I want to make. Number 1, too much assets make you rich. Number 2, too much liabilities make you poor. Number 3, we should accumulate assets. Number 1, too much assets make you rich. What all rich people have in common is probably plenty. But one thing is that they all have assets, and lots of it. If you have too much assets, you're rich.
Because there's no financial education in our school, most people do not understand financial statements. So this here is income, expense, assets, and liabilities. And the reason my poor dad was poor was very simple. Because he couldn't read a financial statement because he don't have financial education in school. He was financially illiterate, although a PhD. And my poor dad always said, our house is an asset. And my rich dad said, your father may be well educated, but he can't tell assets from liabilities. So very simply, my rich dad said to me, assets, whether you work or not, put money in your pocket. So when a banker looks at your financial statement, the banker looks at this and says, oh, you have assets and you're putting money in your pocket. And if you look at your house, it's really a liability because every month it takes money from your pocket. Now I can hear people say, well, it's, I don't have any debt on it, but still every month you have insurance, you have upkeep and expenses to it. So very simply, the reason I'm a rich man today was I knew the difference between assets and liabilities. And I get richer and richer because every year I add more assets to my balance sheet here. And so that's one of the biggest differences. And as my rich dad often said to me, he says, son, my banker has never asked me for my report card. My banker wants to see my financial statement because it's your financial statement that shows how high your financial IQ is. How smart are you with money?
Number 2, too much liabilities make you poor. If you buy all the nice stuff on credit, you'll accumulate debt that will take money from your pocket or your bank account every month. If you use credit card a lot, it will drain your bank account every month. This is the same for an individual, for a business, or for a country. The problem is that the habits that you're building are the habits of a poor or a middle class person. And while there's nothing wrong in being middle class, you do get the compounding interest working against you. If you get compounding interest working against you, it is next to impossible to become rich. Number 3, we should accumulate assets. Even the government of Mindshore should accumulate assets. Objectivism is pro-capitalism, and we should have a capitalist government that accumulates assets and become rich. Going back in history, there's a lot of evidence that the founders of the United States wanted the government to take on debts, as this would allow them for flexibility short-term on the part of the government. Pretty much all governments today have a lot of debt. In Mindshore, we should aim to accumulate assets, not liabilities. We should get the compounding interest working for us, not against us. Poor people and poor countries spend money as they get it. Middle-class people and middle-class countries borrow money to accumulate liabilities. Rich people and rich countries accumulate assets and get compounding interest working in their favor. The Mindshore government should accumulate assets. We should become rich. Rich individually, rich businesses, rich families, rich government. So summing up, point number 1, too much assets makes you rich. Point number 2, too much liabilities makes you poor. Number 3, we should accumulate assets. Thank you for your time.